Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast show. This week, we discuss the aftermath of CES 2024. There was a couple of paper announcements, but nothing really exciting, to be honest.
A couple?
Just
a couple? Okay.
Maybe a few.
All right.
And as we predicted, there was a lot of AI everywhere and computer chips to health gadgets and things like that. So here are some of the announcements which we thought were exciting. But what do you think of the show?
Okay. First of all, error corrections. Last week on their fitness tech podcast, I actually made a couple errors.
Right.
First error was that I recognized Hoka, Hoka, that running shoe company. They're actually not Australian, even though they named their shoes Australian names like the Bondi. They're actually a French.
Oh, French.
They were founded in France. Now they have office in California. That's where they're based from now on.
Okay.
The second one is that Robert Viola, his actual name is Roberto Viola. Okay. So
Roberto.
Yeah. So I made a mistake there. I'm so sorry. And what wasn't clear about that is that his app actually uses your phone to mimic the exercise equipment first. So you actually need a phone, but you also need a tablet. So if that wasn't clear to anyone, my apologies. You actually do need a tablet to be the interface for your fitness app. Okay. And then the phone picks up all of the sensor data and turns it into the exercise machine, the virtual exercise machine, and sends that data to the app. So if that wasn't clear on how you were going to make that dumb bike, that dumb treadmill work, that's how it works. So my bad.
All right. So we know.
Error corrections out of the way. CES was, a lot of paper launches, a lot of AI influenced things, which will become more prevalent in the next few months, as we will see, especially as we roll up to Computex, where everyone's going to have AI something. But overall, it was an interesting show. Some of the products even were buyable, which is quite rare for CES because you would see products that don't launch for a number of months, maybe never. And of course, it's an EV show again, which is interesting as well too.
Yeah. Well, as mentioned previous in our show, Nvidia announced their latest GeForce RTX 40 Super Series cards. There wasn't any on display, but most likely the samples will be. We'll see some in Computex 2024. Prices start at $599. So originally I said it was $650. Yeah. Actually $599. So
that's US though.
US dollars.
Okay, so that's wow. Okay, so that's gotten a lot more expensive. Inflation.
Yeah, and it's GeForce RTX 4070 Super launching January the 17th. Actually, this week.
So if you have a 3000 or the previous 4000 series, probably hang on to it because it's still good.
Yeah,
still good.
Yeah, $799 US for the GeForce RTX 4070 Super. TI. Yeah, TI.
That's
Super.
a lot of money. You can actually build an entire gaming system for $799.
You can, you can. And that's January the 24th. And the highest end one, they would be $999 US, GeForce RTX Super 4080 Super.
Yeah, and just so that we don't lose you, it's just the graphics card that you actually buy. You don't get a computer with this, okay?
No.
You can't even game with just paying $799 or $999. So this is an add-in card for your existing system, provided that you have the right connector, and we'll talk about that next, and also the power to run it. Because your Dell, your Alienware may not be able to run this card if you're just popping it in or something like that.
Yeah, you need at least 850 watts or 1,000 watts.
Okay, well, PC gamers, top-end PC gamers will be happy. But the next thing that will have to be a great move in the right direction for DIY PC building, because a lot of people want to build a computer. They just don't like to fiddle with cables.
Mess around.
What do we got next?
This thing called Project Zero, but apparently it's is it patented by MainGear?
Yeah, MainGear actually is the innovation behind of this. They actually had a lot of technology that they develop in concert with a lot of OEM partners to come up with a way to make their systems more beautiful. And the only way that you can do that is to eliminate the cables that are crawling all over the case, right? We've been trying to do that for a number of years with zip ties, with clever ways of
cable management,
like custom short cables and everything like that. But they patent it a way to have the cables actually integrated directly into the motherboard.
Yeah, I've seen some boards. I think MSI and Asus produced them, and they were all like concept at the last year's Computex. Basically, all the power connectors are on the reverse side of the board. So when you see the board, it's just, you got the RAM slots, that's what you need, CPU slot for the CPU. And all the power connectors, all the cables and everything is all on the reverse side of the board.
Yeah, and there's also integration with the GPU where the power connector for the GPU is no longer in the top part.
That's right.
Slots right into the graphics card slot.
Yeah, that's right. So the power connectors, normally you have a power cable, PCIe they call it, power cable that goes into the graphics card, which it can be tedious because you have like 3 connectors and there's a cable coming out and it's going back in.
It's ugly.
It's ugly, yeah. So now Asus, I think, they have produced a graphics card with the power connectors at the end of the graphics card, as well as the PCIe slot. So you just slot the card in and basically the board, the motherboard, the actual board which powers everything, actually also powers the card.
That's right. And that's one of the biggest things is that port has so much strain on it that I think people have had to put a bracing on it to keep the slot from falling down.
That's right. The graphics card has a little sag, and they call it, and they have to have a graphics card holder to prop it up.
But for everyone at home, it just makes it easier to build that PC that you wanted to build. You're just going to need to wait for these parts to come to the market. Yeah. And the other nice thing too is that even if you have an older case that has no room for cable management, this actually gives you the option to maybe do a resto mod of an older system, right? So put a new motherboard in, put a new power supply in. All these things are integrated so well that you no longer need to do as much cable management. Thing looks beautiful in an old beige case.
Yeah, I think they're gearing towards like one power supply with one cable that goes into the board, and that's it. And everything else gets powered off the board rather than coming through the power supplies. I mean, it's less cable. So
it's quite cool.
Yeah, I've seen some builds where like you have tons of cables, and the cable management, you have to have good cable management. I've seen some terrible
yeah, and it's easy to get it wrong, and that'll affect your cable management aesthetics and also the temperature in your case because you're messing up the currents. Yeah. Okay, so mass market PC thing, that's good. That's awesome. I can't wait to see more of this at Computex because maybe they'll have a booth where you're building a PC and you can build it really fast just by clicking everything in. That'd be awesome. I'll give it a go.
Probably do a record-breaking.
What do we got next?
Next up, TomTom. So TomTom.
Oh yeah, we talked about them briefly.
Yeah, I thought they're going to produce a physical product out on the market, but actually no. On display were basically their maps and other kind of like innovations such as the Orbis maps. I'm not sure if you've seen them. It's basically like, like you go to Apple Maps and maybe Google Maps. They have buildings, right?
Yep.
Physical buildings. You can see like graphics blocks. And then you'll see like hotels, how many meters away, or coffee shop, how many meters away. So you're driving along, you see all this kind of stuff. So that's been done before, right?
This looks like stuff that has been done before, but not in vehicle navigation. That's where TomTom comes in.
Right.
You don't see TomTom as a retail product anymore, even though they still update all the maps and software for the many millions that are still out there attached to, like old vehicles and everything like that, because you still need a GPS system, even though you don't have a phone maybe. And this type of technology, you might be familiar with some of TomTom's technology because it's integrated in a lot of OEM vehicles. You don't see the name. You don't see TomTom anymore, but they are the underlying system that runs the mapping software turn by turn inside your vehicle. And I think this is going to be something that's going to be a great, like GM recently said that they don't want CarPlay or they don't want Android Auto in their vehicles. They're going to do something new. I see a partnership coming up where TomTom will be providing this service and software because not only does it do the enhanced maps with the buildings and everything like that, but it also does for the next generation EVs, which GM is hoping will help them out, is that there's going to be EV services, which allows people to see the chargers where they are, but not only that, but how many stalls are left, whether or not they're operational.
Oh, yeah.
Those are very important things for EV drivers these days, especially if you want to maximize your battery efficiency and battery life, because even though you can charge at home every night, and many people do, 5% of the population do not have access to overnight charging. And these cases, if you need to top up for 20 minutes, you know that charger is available. You're going to go over there, have a bite to eat, charge up, and then move on. And this will ultimately help with the turnover at the stations as well too, because since more vehicles have this data in front of them, you're going to go to the ones that are free rather than the ones that are busy and having to queue up.
Yeah. They also have TomTom Traffic, as its name suggests.
It's the same as what it was before. The same all of the same traffic data that you get in the rental cars that you have been driving all these years without your phone. That's the same traffic data, and it'll be updated with traffic cameras and whatnot. Same stuff, but in and behind the scenes, all this stuff is powered by AI, which is going through Microsoft Azure probably in the cloud processing to get that data up faster and more streamlined to you. So I think overall, this is a good thing for the OEM market. It might not be so important for someone that has a smartphone running Android Auto or CarPlay, but if you have vehicles that don't have that capability, like GM's moving forward maybe, or you're in places where Android Auto or CarPlay may not be allowed, like in mainland China, right? Then this is a good alternative.
And the digital cockpit, they call it. So basically, we'll get some EVs on new cars with this digital cockpit integrated with all this TomTom stuff, I guess.
I don't know if that's going to happen. I think that a lot of these OEMs and whatnot want to do their own experience. So that remains to be seen. It'll be interesting if they actually get into the cockpits, because this requires hardware. This requires the displays and everything to actually work. And I know that TomTom does have, they have experience with smaller displays, but having a wraparound display with TomTom stuff, and like saying TomTom feels so retro, right? But well, it remains to be seen.
TomTom car.
Yeah, you never see them. They're behind the scenes. They're there. They have a lot of patents. Who knows? So that's our update from TomTom. Moving on.
Next up we have Sony. So Sony, I thought there's a lot of TVs and they still have TVs, but the highlight was this Torchlight team. Basically, it's a map of film sets, storyboards, CGI, that kind of stuff. It's basically designed for filmmakers, by filmmakers, right? So if you're a content creator, you can go in there, you play around with the camera setups, the what do you call it, the dollies and strollers and stuff like that, whatever. It's basically for film creators, right? So you can go in and do that kind of stuff. Virtual production, so the green screens, they still do green screens, but now they have the visual screens. So you don't need the green screen, really.
If you've ever seen a behind the scenes of any Marvel production, you know how they use the big digital screens back there. This is basically a scaled down version of that for home use. A lot of people do try to replicate these, but it's very difficult unless you have something that just kind of a turnkey rather than bespoke. So this is a great thing for studios, smaller studios where they want to get bigger business. They want to do different ads, be more creative. So I see a good thing. It's not really a consumer electronic type product. It's more of a prosumer B2B product. But if you want one in your home, I guess you can have one if you want.
It probably costs you thousands.
Thousands? You're probably looking at millions, maybe. All right.
This thing called Access Controller for the PS5 console. So for people who are, with a bit of disabilities or, with the sight vision, stuff like that, it allows you to play more games easier, more comfortably. With highly customizable buttons and controller kits and stuff like that, you could basically match your own designs. So it's like almost like a Lego block kind of thing where you put your own controller pads. Some people prefer left hand, right hand, that kind of thing where you can just
This sounds very familiar to a project that Microsoft did many, many years ago. It's for Xbox, and this is a configurable, accessible controller. You can buy it. It's on their website right now, but the buttons are really big. So it's okay that they've done something like that, but it's not something new. But it's good that PlayStation now has something available. Because for so long, people would play on Xbox, not PlayStation, if they were differently disadvantaged.
So, but that was on display. LG, they have their 83-inch kind of LCD, OLED TV, right? And also the biggest announcement was the transparent TV.
That's really neat. It's kind of creepy.
It's I've seen transparent displays on modded cases or modded PC cases where the side panel, they use a transparent window where LCD, and it does look good. It does look really good. Because if it's not on, it's clear, right? You can see right through onto the PC components, right? But if we switch it on, you kind of have animation displays and stuff like that. It's all coming in and out. It looks so good. But now having that on a TV with like, I don't know how many inches, 55 inches, 65 inches, whatever. And you could just put that on the wall. When you switch it off, it's just a clear piece of glass. You can't really see anything. There's no frame. There's no frame, by the way. And it's just clear. So you see the wall. But you switch it on, then you can have all these, screensavers coming on, like like fish fish tank and bubbles.
Sounds like an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, but it looks so good though. It looks really good. I love to have one of those.
For someone that's looking for something more conventional, Samsung did announce their flagship OLED TVs. The latest model is the QD-OLED. Now, this is interesting because we have a screen in front of us to our left. You notice all that glare from the outside?
Yeah, the glare. Yeah.
This is a glare-free TV.
Glare. Oh, yeah.
Glare-free. So
glare-free.
this is a 95-inch or 77 to 95-inch TV that has a brightness of 3,000 nits.
It's
huge. So bright.
It's huge.
That you have direct control of all of the local lighting, so that there is no glare.
Wow.
Right.
No glare at all.
That's what they're claiming at the show, right?
And we also mentioned that MLA, basically the light ray.
Yeah, and like this is not like this is like mini LED, but to the next level. So these pixels and everything, they go up to 3,000. Yeah, like it's hot. Like that's a lot of light. Like that basically is
if you produce a lot of light, wouldn't that actually heat up the actual panels?
It does. It does actually.
Okay.
What they were saying is that I think some demo was put up where they put all the TVs up from LG, Samsung, Sony. Samsung obviously wins because they have this localized dimming, and then the sensor says that this temperature of this candle that's burning on their screen is much less hot than all the other TVs because of their control of the local LED dimming.
Okay.
So less radiation onto your face, apparently. But glare-free TV, that's pretty neat. I think that's something that a lot of people realize that, hey, that kind of sucks. Right, to have the screen that you can't watch at any angle, right? That's been a bit of a limitation of cheaper TVs recently.
Yeah, I was at my father-in-law's place, and they love watching TV while they're dining.
Yeah,
and where I'm sitting, well, there's only one spot I'm allowed to sit.
Yeah, so you can't see, can you?
I sat there, and the TV is like literally 180 degrees. Yeah. So I'm like, I can't see damn thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
so with the coatings that Samsung has put up and also the localized dimming, you will be able to see from where you're sitting, where you're allowed to sit in the, family.
That's good. That's
so
good.
maybe you can suggest that they buy that TV next. Okay, moving on.
Intel, as you know, they announced the Intel Core Ultra CPUs, and they are basically mostly in laptops at the moment. So we're expecting, hopefully this year, maybe at Computex, they'll announce the new 15th gen Meteor Lake. That's maybe later on this year. But for now, Core Ultra in their laptops, and they have Thunderbolt 5.
Thunderbolt 5 is coming out, yes.
It's actually
faster,
it's
better,
80 gigabits per second bidirectional.
Yep.
And up to 192 gigabytes of memory support. So this new chips can handle all this.
Yes.
Which is great.
Which AMD does not have.
That's right.
So they're going to need something too, or some compatibility or some licensing, because it's great technology.
I think is it Intel is the only one that does Thunderbolt.
Intel's the only one that's doing Thunderbolt right now because Apple has to license something from them to make it work on their phones, to make it work on their, and even on the new M series devices, silicon.
You know what's going to happen, right? You know what's going to happen, right? Later in the year, Apple will announce their new MacBooks with Thunderbolt, the reinvented Thunderbolt.
They've already done that. They've reinvented VR goggles, which we'll talk about at the end if we have time. Okay.
All right. Also, AI Anywhere. So Intel is kind of pushing that into the automotive industry. Intel with the, I think they already are. They already have chips in the automotive industry, but it's going to be having all the EV stuff capabilities into one chip.
And this is the NPU stuff, right?
Yeah.
So all AI functions.
That's right. That's for Intel. And for AMD, not much. Basically, this 8000 series of Ryzen chips, again, mostly in laptops. You'll notice a lot of CES will have new chips for their new laptops at CES. So that's what's happening there. And then they're going to be announcing the cheaper Ryzen CPUs for desktops and also graphics cards. So Nvidia, like I mentioned, $1,000 for a graphics card, just for graphics. That's just too much.
Yeah.
But AMD has always been the kind of second option. Decent graphics performance, but cheaper, much cheaper than Nvidia.
So hopefully we see them in laptops. They're affordable because not every you're getting more applications that need the acceleration, especially in school. These days, people are making videos to present in class and whatnot.
Yep.
So these things need to be more affordable.
And they also got this new thing called AMD's AI PCs.
Of course they do.
Right.
AI.
So what is this? It's basically the new chip called the Ryzen AI. Again, you probably see them in laptops, mobiles, tablets, and what it includes is traditionally on a computer you have CPU, right? Central processing unit, which controls everything. Then you have the GPU, which is the graphics, which gives you graphics, of course. But now they integrate this something called NPU, which is a neural processing, and you hear of neural processing unit in silicon, Apple Silicon, blah blah blah. They're gonna have all that integrated into one chip. So I think they're targeting that kind of market now, where you have rather have separate chips, all integrated into one chip, and you'll see them in laptops, mobiles, and tablets and things like that.
Yeah. Now, an NPU is something that if it does have one on board, it does all of the processing on board rather than pulling stuff from the cloud. It's also a replacement for the GPU reliance, because right now everyone's on Nvidia. They're hoping that they do really, really well, which is great. The stock has been skyrocketing, and you get a lot of managers inside Nvidia that just basically coast along now. Because they're rich.
Yeah.
Right?
You see like news announcements. It's literally on Yahoo Finance.
Yeah.
Oh, this executive, no name, of course, just sold like 2 million shares of Nvidia.
And he quit. So it's difficult to hang on to talent that way. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with a company that grows so quickly and their stock prices are skyrocketing. Everyone's going to be jumping around, doing things, maybe even doing their own startups, which has been happening in recent years.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Nvidia, with all their knowledge of AI, graphics, and chips and stuff like that, they'll probably produce their own CPU. So in other words, it's not a two-player market like Intel, AMD.
Could be an NBU. Could be an NPU.
Three-player market with Nvidia involved.
Yeah, like a math co-processing unit, like in the
the
Intel days. Yeah, like add-on board.
Like add-on board, like 3DFX Voodoo.
Or that, what's that? The AGEA physics card before Nvidia bought them.
Physics card,
It was a separate car for that.
That's right.
Anyway,
that's right.
We're getting too ahead of ourselves. What's next?
AI, ChatGPT, and smart home tech. So
the best one out there right now is the one that everyone was able to buy was the Rabbit R1. This is a little like previous on there was another one called a pen that you used to be able to speak to that integrated. It was like an assistant that you pinned onto yourself.
Right.
This Rabbit R1 is like a screen device with like it looks like
Tamagotchi.
No, you ever watch Pokemon Adventures? There's this Rotom Dex.
Right.
So it's basically a Pokemon that looks like a phone, and he's actually a Pokemon. And this is what it reminds me of. It's red with a screen. And what it does is it allows you to log into all of your personal accounts.
Okay.
So that it has an intimate on-device knowledge of you. So imagine if you were using your phone, you have so many different apps to do so many different other things. You can just train this thing to do all these things by getting into your life. So let's just say that you're booking a flight.
Okay.
You are logged into it. If you are booking your flight, you would be in Expedia. You would be looking for insurance. You would be looking for rentals. You'd be looking for a hotel.
Yep.
You can now just tell Rabbit, hey, Rabbit, I need you to book me a flight to Taiwan and I need accommodations and I need to be during these dates. No problem. Let me set up your itinerary. This is what it looks like by pulling all the information for all those sources rather than you having to log into every single app.
So similar to like Alexa, because you ask Alexa, hey, I want...
No, Alexa doesn't do this.
All right.
Alexa is not... This is integrated to all of your personal accounts. It knows your calendar. It knows everything.
Okay.
It uses a natural large language model to actually say, have a conversation. Hey, it's like talking to a travel agent. Hey, travel agent, I need you to book me a hotel from this date and this date because I'm flying from this date to this date from these locations. Can you please put together an itinerary for me? No problem. I will do that for you. This is what it does.
Like a personal assistant.
It's a personal assistant.
Wow.
It's a true personal assistant. But it needs to learn from you. So it obviously is a smaller device, but it's $199.
Oh, $199.
And they're all sold out now.
Okay, so who's the company behind it?
Rabbit.
Rabbit. Okay.
Yeah, and they use teenage engineering to design the device.
Yeah.
I think that's why it looks so slick. It looks like a Rotom Dex from Pokemon. Look it up, Rotom Dex. And it's just so cool. Or a Pokédex. It actually looks like, Pokédex or a Rotom Dex. And it's just kind of a cool, quirky device that you can talk to, not your phone.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Will a phone replace this device? Is it dead on arrival? I think right now, it might still have a chance because phones don't do these things because there are, how should I say, privacy things inside your phone that don't allow all these things to kind of talk to each other. But now that you've logged into every single one of these accounts and given Rabbit access to that, it's very powerful. It also knows everything.
Yeah. Talking about that, you mentioned, I won't say it now, but Samsung has something very similar soon. We'll talk about that soon.
Oh, I don't think Samsung has anything on this.
Okay.
This is not that. This is another level of creepiness.
Okay. Well, I've seen something called an AI companionship called Wehead. Interestingly, it's just, again, it's similar to a robot, but it doesn't move around. It's got this human kind of face skeleton thingy wrapped anyway. It allows you to do conversations. So like human interactions, face to face, that kind of thing. It's really to help people to kind of overcome loneliness. So if you have an elderly people that who's lonely, that could help. Conversations, stuff like that.
Yes, and that's why for so long the Kubo. Remember the Kubo? It's the headless robotic pillow cat.
Okay.
Something about that is so satisfying.
Okay.
Right? You don't have to feed it. You don't have to pick up its litter. It just kind of sits there and the tail wags.
It's a virtual pet kind of thing.
I don't know if they were here this year. Oh, nope. Yes, they are. They were back. Kubo was back at CES.
All right.
I think. So weird.
But AI also in health, because health tech is coming along quite big for this year, and they got this thing called they got AI toothbrushes. It'll tell you when to change your that's changing the toothbrush heads. It'll tell you if you've brushed left or right and that kind of stuff, and also AI smart rings. People are wearing rings now that monitor your health.
I'm going to tell you right now, there is an app that comes with my Oral-B. I never use it.
Okay.
Ever. I don't care. I just brush my teeth. It's not something that I need in my life right now.
And also L'Oreal are getting into the act with facial, not recognition, but analyzing your facial features to give you a kind of user's profile of your health, the skin health, that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's interesting because wasn't L'Oreal the one that did the lipstick, the makeup? They actually did the custom makeup, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
So one of the companies did that. So I guess this is the next step up. Skin health. Is it dry? Is it, combination skin?
Yeah.
Neat stuff. I also know that Garmin announced a number of things. Garmin is a watch company that is not a smartwatch per se. It's more of a fitness watch. And they announced two products actually that are geared towards females. The first thing is, how we were talking about in the fitness tech episode where the straps are the ones to go for. And the most accurate one is the chest strap.
The chest one,
Well, women have some problems with that sometimes.
Okay.
Right? Because they're not built like men. They can't just strap something on there because they have other things to worry about. Like, those parts.
Yeah.
We don't have those, right? Unless you're a gym bro. In which case, they created a new watch monitoring clip-on sensor that clips onto sports bras.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So sports bra. Okay.
So that device is really cool. And at the same time, they also launched a new watch called the Lily, which is for smaller arms. Because when you look at a Garmin, it's like gargantuan. They're huge.
They're big,
watches.
yeah.
They're so big. They're bigger than this, right? So even the Watch Ultra is pretty big, right? But Garmin's are they look chunky and huge. And when you see it on when a lady looks at their wrist and this thing's hanging off of it, it's like a weight. So the Lily is a much more streamlined, nicer colors, a little bit of gold, purples, accents, line of watches from Garmin that should be a real hit. And I think this is going directly against the Fitbit crowd because the Fitbit had the stents they have, and now that the deal is done, Google is probably going to swallow them up, and it's going to look like the Google Pixel Watch, right? So that look is what reminds me of the Garmin watches.
Okay.
Moving forward, with a lot of the same functionality integrated as more touchscreen functions.
Right.
So that's all coming for female athletes, runners, even part-time athletes that just want to stay fit. So all this stuff is coming. It's actually kind of exciting.
Yeah. And of course, CES has EVs. So EV is an EV show.
It's the EV show. Half the show is the EV. Did you know that LG also set up their first plant to build EV chargers in the US?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that recently happened. There wasn't a CES announcement, but it just happened.
Also, talking about chargers or actually batteries.
Yeah.
Honda didn't have a factory or planning to have a factory in Ontario.
Yeah. They want to do a factory here. So they're just getting some funding and stuff like that from, certain municipalities and governments and everything like that to put a plant there. Other companies have already started that process as well too.
Okay.
So Canada might actually end up being a EV building hotbed. And
great.
as we know, EVs don't work in the cold. So
I'm sure they do.
yes, they do.
Okay. Hyundai has a Mobion crab walking parking car.
Yep.
So basically, you don't need to do parallel reverse parking anymore. The car will park itself sideways.
Yes. And
They had it in demo.
And realizing that how that works is that, again, like of any type of propulsion, it has to be electric.
It has to be, of course, yeah.
A gas vehicle can't do that. The number of gearing changes.
You can literally see the wheels go 90 degrees like that, twist, and then it'll just roll into place.
These are hub motors. So
it's really cool.
The motor drive units are all built independently in all the wheels. The wheels also have the braking mechanism via regen and probably some sort of physical rotor or a brake inside there. So it's all integrated into each wheel. And because of that, if you have an all-wheel drive system, that type of control where it knows when it's slipping and to compensate and to talk to all the other three wheels is very powerful to have that versus a single engine sitting on either axle or even a single engine under a hood. This is going to pave the way for very advanced, independent all-wheel drive. We saw some of this technology in the prototype Rivians that never made it to market. But maybe that's the next step up. Maybe this is what we see from EVs moving a little bit forward. Yeah. Because if you think about it, if you can put the motor in all four corners instead, that reduces the unsprung weight of the vehicle. That reduces the weight of the vehicle inside, where you can put a bigger battery in, or even make the cabin larger.
Yeah, because you're distributed the weight across four
it's evenly
wheels.
on all the wheels, right? So not only are your wheels planted, they're little gyroscopes to keep your car on the road.
Yeah.
So interesting.
What about that company from Vietnam?
Oh yeah. Apparently they hired a new CEO. That's
hired a new CEO.
Madam Tui.
Okay.
And she was giving out interviews.
Yeah.
And she recognizes that, hey, you know what? We made some mistakes. Sure we did. Yeah, we made some mistakes. We didn't harass that journalist in Vietnam for saying bad things about our company. Sure, we didn't do that. It wasn't us. And they were trying to make nice with the North American press, saying that we were listening and everything. We're going to do big things, as one does.
Yeah,
of course, because she is the leader. And what has happened is that they came to CES kind of with an idea to get a pulse on the market as to what is interesting to them. So for the longest time, people have been asking for smaller vehicles, and they wanted to test the waters on that. So I mentioned that in the last preview is that they were bringing out 3 new vehicles, one of them being an e-bike, but I didn't really hear a lot about that. So I don't have any comments on that. But the VF3 was the one that looked like a Suzuki Sidekick
slash smaller vehicle
mashed together like a little If you've seen Kia Souls on the road, it kind of reminds me of that, but if it had more of a Jeep look to it.
Okay.
And this compact little vehicle is a very compact SUV style vehicle that has no pricing, no specs and everything, as to be expected. And don't believe anything that they say until they actually launch it, because they changed their minds so many times with the launch of their VF8, like all their other vehicles, right? So that's coming out, apparently. They were trying to get a feel for the market to see whether or not a compact SUV would work in the market. And apparently a lot of people were excited about that. Great. good. The other vehicle that they wanted to bring out was a direct shot against over Elon Musk's bow, which is the Wild, which is their pickup truck.
Oh, they have a pickup truck?
Yeah. This vehicle basically looks like, how should I say? It's silver.
Okay.
It's not stainless steel. It has suicide doors, so the doors both swing out
Okay.
sideways. So it's looked like the Dodge Ram concept when they first brought it out before they nuded it and turned it into like a normal pickup truck. So I don't know how far this will get in production, because to produce a vehicle with those types of doors cheaply is probably not going to happen.
And, hold on. And is it an EV as well, right?
It's an EV, full EV.
Full EV.
So that's where they're going for. It's it looks like it's a compact pickup truck. So I don't like, it's smaller than like a huge,
It's going to be difficult because I think Cybertruck has set the standard for EV pickups.
I think a lot of people also think that Cybertruck is Tesla's first dud because it doesn't perform right. It's also very poorly put together. From all of the top journalist people out there that review these all day in, day out, that you love Teslas, but they feel that this one's not quite right.
Yeah, because having an EV car is different to an EV pickup truck, because a truck has a lots of different things that needs to go right.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in the snow or if you're off-road, 4x4, that kind of thing, right?
The Cybertruck has been failing in those respects. So getting the we've driven the VinFast. We know their drivetrain. We know their suspension.
Yeah.
And to do a pickup truck correctly without bouncing all over the rocks and bouncing off the road into a ditch is going to be something that Vietnam is going to really have to get right
because
the first time.
They don't have snow in Vietnam.
Well, they have rough roads, so maybe they know something, but they don't have. Yes, you're right. They have a lot of rain. They just don't have slippery surfaces like we do. They don't have those types of inclines that we have to get to in the desert or whatever. I mean, it's going to have to do truck things very well.
Yeah.
So I think it would be smarter for them to build maybe a city truck. That would probably work very, very well.
And marketed differently.
As kind of a lifestyle vehicle rather than a burly man pickup truck with boulders in the back. No, this is the truck that you take to IKEA with. This is the truck that you put your family in, and maybe like put the camping stuff in the back. Like different lifestyle.
Yeah, cool.
All right.
VinFast.
Those are the two things. They have a bike apparently.
I haven't seen it. No.
I could find out more, but I really don't want to.
Right.
There's also Kia.
Yeah, Kia platform. What's that? It's a Kia platform Beyond.
Platform Beyond is, you know how they did the EGMP platform, which was the one after, like this is a true EV platform where it's built from the ground up to be EV. So this is the next platform. Right?
I haven't seen any of their cars. So is that, okay. All right.
So of that, you're going to get minivans.
So whole range, a whole series of different...
whole series. I mean, they're looking at vehicles that basically look the futuristic look that they've been going for.
So it doesn't look like a car. It looks more of an EV vehicle, right?
You can tell it's an EV.
Okay.
You can tell it's an EV.
Yeah.
So these are the things that they're talking about, concepts, charging technology. They're obviously in North America. They're going to the North American charging standard, aka the Tesla charger. They're also going to be working on ways for them to charge faster, more efficiently. So all this stuff is wrapped up into a bow into one kind of concept platform that basically makes all of the EV stuff work better, but it's still a concept. So whatever comes out of CES, will it happen? Maybe, maybe not. But don't bet
on it. No.
Based on future promises until you get a car that's out on the road.
Can I ask you a question? Does Honda make any EVs? Right now.
Honda has a partnership with GM.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
so
they
don't make their own EVs.
Passport? I think it's the Passport.
At this year's CES, they have the Honda 0 Series concept car. So it looks like Honda is going to make their own EVs eventually.
Yeah. I was looking at this, and it's basically a very high level concept still.
Yeah.
Like we don't know a whole lot about it. Do we know? I think we have partners. There's partner with Sony already?
Yeah. Called the
Fila. But I think that's more of a partnership for UI and software engineering and the electronics. But this is but the drivetrain will be strictly a Honda thing.
Yeah, I'd love
And-
to see what the Honda EV's like, really. If you have a Honda EV car.
Yeah, because their partnership with GM was very short lived. It was only for one vehicle. Right? It was one vehicle. It was is it the Passport EV? I can't remember. But it's the one that looks like the Chevy Blazer. But it's got a Honda badge on it. But it's definitely a Chevy Blazer on the inside. Okay. So that gets their feet wet in the water. It's a good looking vehicle with Honda refinement, but it's still a GM under it, which kind of irks me the wrong way. Honda needs to do their own thing. Now that they're doing their own thing, now that they have embraced EV to build a concept, and hopefully they have some timelines to release a vehicle very, very soon. They are already ahead of the game against Toyota, because Toyota is the biggest car maker in the world right now.
Aren't they still going for like hydrogen kind of concept cars?
They keep baiting people with the promise of solid state batteries to get 1,000 kilometers of range or something like that. Things that basically charge very, very fast that have been promised for the last decade. Nothing manifested. The hydrogen cars are out there, but I've only seen 3.
Yeah.
Here.
The thing is, with hydrogen, you need that infrastructure, because if you don't have the infrastructure to do hydrogen refills and stuff like that, it's not going to work.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Of all of the most devastating weapons in the world, besides nuclear, what was the second most devastating?
Second, I think it's the most. Hydrogen bomb is the whole.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have these little hydrogen bombs roaming the city. That doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Plus, have you ever seen a hydrogen fueling station?
I haven't.
They look scary. They look scary.
Is it compressed liquid hydrogen?
Yeah, like yes, it costs $133 to fill a hydrogen tank.
But how far would you get out of it, though?
You get about 500 kilometers. 500 to 800 kilometers, something like that.
All right, so they're not actually saving you money, but saving the environment is always they're saying?
They're saying that the tailpipe emissions are water,
It
but
is water,
in order to get hydrogen to compress and refrigerate it at that level costs so much electricity, right? You have to cool it, right? You have to cool it down, right?
It's minus whatever, 2.5
minus
degrees.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then the vehicle has to have a container that is able to, if it ruptures, if there's a leak in it, ooh, that's not good.
That's not good.
Right? And like I know that you need some sort of a catalyst to actually make it go, but is that not what you're doing inside the vehicle somewhere?
Yeah.
You know, like I don't have all the answers, but I just find that it's knowing what hydrogen has done to certain parts of the world during war times, I'm kind of a little bit scared of it.
Yeah, just go with EVs. Simple as that.
Right.
All right. Okay. Well, a luxury car. So Mercedes have got an EV already. I think it's called EQS or
EQS, EQB, and also the G-Wagon.
They're really expensive, right? But now they're going to release a CLA class entry level. So we're going to see some nice Mercedes floating around, EVs, hopefully.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I also know that Rivian is coming out with their R2.
Is that cheaper?
It's much cheaper.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's based on the R1, but it's actually the more mass-produced version of it.
Yeah.
And also, I know that Lucid is constantly working on trying to get their technology. They're the most expensive, by the way, not Mercedes. And their vehicles have the most range, the most efficiency. If they can just find a way to do the Tesla Model 3 moment where they can get all that technology into something that's mass produced, Lucid will take off. Right now, their stock is having a tough time. But, you know, they've got good backing. They've got a lot of money in Saudi Arabia. So hopefully they do make it. And Peter Rawlinson, who's getting the piss taken out of him for taking a little bit of money, it's in his contract. People, it's not like it's in his contract. It's the reason why he left Tesla to do this, right?
Yeah.
So, man's got to get paid.
Anything else that?
Have you seen Ballie?
Ballie? No. What is?
Not Bollywood. Ballie.
I heard of Wally, but what's Ballie?
Well, Ballie is like Wally. He's basically this little robot that Samsung brought out a couple years ago. Actually, is this ball that kind of rolls around.
Yep.
Well, this one's a little bit more refined. He's not much more. He's not a ball anymore per se. He's still kind of round. Yellow.
Does it roll around? Does he move?
He has wheels.
Oh,
now.
okay.
So now he has a little projector inside.
Oh.
Okay, so what he does is he's your home companion. He greets you,
Oh, okay.
so he knows you're there. So he actually stalks you when you come in the door to make sure that it's you. Otherwise, he'll ring the alarms or something like that. He also is able to keep your dog occupied by playing scenes and music and stuff like that. Right? Like he's this little guy that if it was my dog,
the projector just projects image on the floor.
And if you're looking for something in the house, it'll project things on the wall to show you
cool.
things. So any wall, any surface is potentially a place where Ballie can help you with your life.
Oh, it's almost like a R2D2 where it projects a hologram.
Yeah, but not as snarky and not as with an attitude. So yeah, it's
Okay, cool.
They plan on selling it, I think, but I'm not sure when.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure when.
Interesting. Because we're going to see a lot more robots. We see robot vacuum cleaners now, robot this and robot that. We're going to see a lot more robots coming.
Speaking of something that we spend a lot of time on, many people do a lot of very deep thinking in this space.
What's that?
A lot of thought. Many great ideas have come out of this space. And this is probably one of the spaces that people spend the least amount of money in. We call it the bathroom. And specifically, it's the toilet, right? So a couple years ago, I think it was CES a couple years ago, they had toilets that actually in the health spectrum. They took your poop and your pee and they measured it and looked at things to make sure that you're healthy.
Okay.
Okay. So the next evolution is an aesthetic one.
All right.
So Kohler, because everyone loves the bold look of Kohler, they call it the numi. 2.0
numi
smart toilet.
Okay.
And this numi toilet has been around, but this is the e-ink edition.
E-ink, what does it do?
So remember the BMW?
Okay.
They had the color changing panels and everything like that.
Oh, yeah, right.
And you know how toilets are always white?
Yeah, kind of boring.
Well, this is not boring. It can be any color that you want.
Oh, really?
Right? So this e-ink toilet has patterns and stuff like that. It can change colors, okay? I don't know why we would do that. And also the cleanup, I don't know how, but it's a $10,000 e-ink toilet. And it's coming to
$10,000 for a toilet.
Yep. That's coming. And that is CES 2024.
That's right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. Yep. So on that note, we're glad to say we didn't quite miss CES
we were
this
marked
year.
safe from being there.
Yeah. And it's another year of press releases and not a lot of innovation, to be honest with you. Not real products anyway, apart from maybe a couple of things you can buy. But so tell us what you think. If you were there.
Did we miss something that we should have talked about? Let us know in the comments.
That's right.
There was a lot of stuff there. Like, there was a lot.
And of course, this is a YouTube exclusive. So make sure you click on that notification and subscribe because you get all new shows every Wednesday at noon.
Except last week where I missed I'm sorry, guys. It came out at 3:30.
Oh,
I just forgot to push the button. But yes, every Wednesday at noon on YouTube. It's a YouTube exclusive. Also now on YouTube Music in certain areas of the world. Canada now as well too. So if you want to subscribe to our podcast show on YouTube Music, you can do that now.
Great.
All right.
So we'll see you next week at same time.
That's right.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.